So Paul, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm happy this morning. These things take a bit of finding sometimes after a cold night like this, but when you look at them here in a conservancy, even though it's a terrible time in the world, you realise something's going right. And the conservancies are important. That's why I've always maintained it. These are the best game areas in the world. They're properly controlled. There's no nonsense. The money is audited. Everybody pays a good fee, and this is why I got involved with this. Involved with Kicheche over 20 years ago now. We started it, and thank goodness we have these things. You know, after 37 years in travel, you like to see some progress, and there's been so many steps backward. You know, the damage we do to the environment, the amount of people who go on holiday and don't really realise that, you know, actually they're not bringing a great deal to the picnic. Well, every single person who comes here is. And, you know, paying $118 a day conservancy fee means roads are tended to, predators are looked after, you have proper cattle situation where everybody benefits. It's all stakeholders benefit, and it's tough at the moment, and we need tourists like you, and we need plenty of them. Otherwise, these things can be irreparably or damaged irrevocably, frankly. And so without tourists, it's not just tourists who benefit here, it's local people, and, you know, two-legged and four. And I've spent too long in travel now just to talk about people going away and sort of enjoying their week or two. You want to really get something from it, and, you know, we're going to spend the next few hours with this family, and hopefully they put something on the table.
Fantastic. And tell me a little bit about your photography.
As many journalists and poor unfortunates I've guided have said, it is very much a tough love approach. I only get people for a short amount of time. And if people photographing, often like skiers, you get skiers who think, oh, I'm going to be better next year or this year, whatever it is, and they only do 1 week of skiing a year. They're never going to get better. And you're never going to get better if you don't work at photography. And you never get, there's simple rules, you know. You do get up very early. You do spend a lot of time with a particular species. It's not about chalking off stuff. And it's certainly not about taking photographs that have been done a billion times before. I want to take a wildebeest jumping over a river. I'm not saying you shouldn't take them, but don't expect to win any garlands with them. You've got to be bold. You've got to be not afraid of failing. You've got to be ambitious. You've got to be imaginative. You've got to graft, and you've got to be there.
Excellent. What for you are the best places to go in the world to get these kind of wildlife shots?
The best places to photograph wildlife, I can categorise. I normally think it's a slightly facile question. But here, the Mara Conservancy is no question. Has the highest concentration in the world, number one. Number two, interesting. I would say South Georgia would be right up there. I mean, 6 million king penguins can't be wrong. Like 1.3 million ruminants can't be wrong here. Like the only growing population of lions in the world or in Africa, I know there's some in India, is here in these 3 or 4 conservancies. So that isn't coincidence. When you have rangers and authorities and the people who started the conservancies actually putting money where their mouth is, but the money being properly spent rather than utterly abused, you get a result. There is an end game. That's not to say there aren't problems. There's always problems. There's always difficulties. It's particularly difficult when you haven't got the meal ticket of the tourists we had, say, a year ago. But yeah, South Georgia here, I think I love Spitsbergen. I like seeing polar bears on ice, and I think it's worth spending a lot of time doing it. Anywhere where you don't have an itinerary, anywhere where you can be out for as long as you like, anywhere where it's no problem getting up very early. But to me, it's not just about it's not just about a big old lens like that. It's often about these and a wide-angle lens, and really trying to not to ambush a subject. I always hate seeing a snarling animal in a photograph because it means the photographer's too close, rather than, you know, an animal that's relaxed. There's a quantum leap between any animal being approached and that animal approaching you. So yeah, it is. the other thing you have to realise with photography, it is just a photograph. Let's not be sanctimonious about it. There's far too many people, a lot of them with big, backing, who piously preach and bray about how important their photographs are to everything and the exposure they'll bring. Look, if you, as a photographer, want to really help an area, go stick your hand in your pocket, all right? That's what you need to do. Talk about exposure. Yeah, it is just a photograph, and there is no such thing as a perfect photograph. I think I once gave someone a 9 out of 10, and I think I lay down for a week after it.
Very good. What about future plans?
Well, we hopefully by June, with vaccine really making a proper difference, we'll get decent numbers of people here, and things will start reverting to a sort of normal. But it's going to be very hard because so many people rely on tourism. We have a government in the UK who doesn't care a bit about it. There's been tourism, hospitality, aviation. They have much bigger financial institutions to take care of. We have the worst government and cabinet in my memory, and I know they've been tested, but they've done just about everything wrong, and tourism is right at the bottom of the ladder. And those cheaters over there need tourists. Okay, they just do, because with tourists there's money. With money there's rangers, there's protection, because that's what people come to see. They come to see all sorts of animals. I hope to be back in the saddle in South Georgia in October, maybe even Spitsbergen in June, and a few others, but we'll just have to see. I didn't do this to own a... Kicheche is not about a couple of owners having a little pied-à-terre in the bush. We did it with a long game. We started with 7 staff. We got about 120. It's probably about 2,000 livelihoods dependent on us. And that sort of shit matters, and will continue to matter. And when things like endangered animals, tribal people, staff, people coming back again and again and again, and seeing the generosity of clients and guests, and when that stops mattering, I'll stop doing this. But right now it does, and the rest is all fluff.
Fantastic. Thanks very much indeed, Paul.
All right, mate, you might want to get back on your camera.